Every campus has stories of struggle, growth, and transformation. And behind every such great institution, there are pillars who shape thousands of lives.
And today, we are sitting down with one such personality. Not just a principal, but a guide, a mentor, and someone who has seen generations of students evolve.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to OneShot, a podcast where we capture honest conversations and perspectives that matter, all in one shot.
This podcast is an initiative by the Autograph Club and the Clicks Club of NMIT, where we bring you stories from within and beyond the campus, the stories that stay with you and inspire you.
And today, we are privileged to have one such inspiration of our own campus.
Please join us in welcoming the principal of NMIT, Dr. Niranjan N Chiplunkar. We are grateful to have you with us today, sir.
Thank you.
So, welcome to OneShot.
And welcome to a conversation where we not just talk about positions, we also talk about the things that we were in the past and what we want to become in the future.
So before we move on to your achievements, your position, or your statistics, we would like to start from the very base. So we'd like to know how were you as a young child and what shaped your young personality?
Okay. Like in everyone's life, the childhood, in my case also, I actually went around about 10 to 12 cities before I could get into my professional career. The reason is my father was in government service. So he used to get a transfer once in every 2 or 3 years. So I actually studied in 10 different schools before I could come to the engineering. So with that, one greatest advantage was that I could see different places, different schools, different scenarios, and even language. For that matter, I did my 4th standard in northern part of Karnataka, that is in a place called Humnabad near Bidar. There predominantly it is Urdu speaking community, and I didn't know anything, but of course it really helped me in building up my language skills, because that early age is the one wherein we build up these language skills very quickly. Then, of course, I studied in some government schools, some private schools, all sorts of schools before I could enter into my college life. And also in college, I did my engineering from National Institute of Engineering, Mysore, where I graduated in the year 1986 from Electronics and Communications. There I used to stay in a private hostel. So I have experienced that hostel life also. It was really amazing. Even today, whenever I get an opportunity to go to Mysore, I first visit my hostel rather than the college. Even though I don't know anybody over there right now, but those walls, rooms, the places where we used to do all sorts of things like the students of even today. I really remember all that, and then that's how it went. So otherwise, it was like everybody's student life. I also enjoyed. I learned a lot of things, but as I mentioned earlier, it was 10 different schools that really gave me a confidence that I can mingle with anybody, I can talk with anybody, and that was something unique in my life, I should say.
So that's true, sir. I believe childhood plays a very major role in what we become in the future. Sir, also adding, what role did your family play? It could be how did they support you throughout your career, and how they were the backbone of your life, and how did the entire journey went?
In fact, my family, in the sense that my mother and father, they supported me fully in carrying out my education process. They never said no to whatever I requested them for. In fact, soon after my plus 2, I wanted to get into medicine. I don't know why, but somehow. And that time there was no CET. It was purely based on our PCM marks in plus 2. We need to apply, whether it's engineering or medicine or whatever it is. And government of Karnataka, that education board, that they used to allot the seats. And I did not get in medicine. Maybe my marks were not sufficient, good enough to get a medical seat, but I got an engineering seat. And in fact, even in engineering, I first joined MC Hassan because that was the first college that was allotted to me. But again, after that time we used to apply for a second round. I applied for a second round and I got National Institute of Engineering, Mysore. So even in college, I studied in two colleges, I should say. Even though the first college only for 15 days, but later I shifted there. So my family, in fact, they helped me, they supported me in every respect. And after retirement of my dad in somewhere 1984 or so, when I was doing my engineering, he went and settled in this village. So after that, I used to go to my village very frequently. My grandparents were there. So in a way, my father, even though he was in a state government service, he was ethically very upright. So at the age of 50 itself, he took a voluntary retirement. And he said that this is not for me. If I want to go in a straight path, really the system doesn't allow me to do that. So those were certain initial things that really had a very great impact on me. I thought that I also should go in the way in which my father has led his life. My mother, God fearing, and they looked after my grandparents. My grandfather was, he lived up to 106, age of 106. So they looked after their parents. And of course, later I also had to, because they had taught me that in their life. So really the family not only supported and helped me in doing my education, but in my overall personality development and how I should lead my life, they taught me lots of lessons.
So, right, sir. As you clearly mentioned, you have been part of, you have shifted lots of schools and also colleges. So was academics always your core strength, or did you have an early phase of struggle in your academics before you actually find your true potential?
No, it was not. Actually, academics was my strength. I used to come in the top one or two in my batch, even in engineering. So that time when I graduated in 86, I did my graduation, as I mentioned, in electronics and communication. There was no concept of campus placement. There was no IT industries. So we used to apply to all the, what is called the public sector companies. You know, that time BEL, BHEL, HMT, ITI, ISRO. Even ISRO was not that much talked about that time. BARC, Bhabha Atomic Research Center. These are the places where graduates like us used to apply. I also applied. I only got through in BEL to some extent, but in the meantime, I got my first interview offer from Manipal Institute of Technology. So I went there, I got selected. So I was liking this education segment very much. And that was the first job I took, and then it continued. Yes.
That's great, sir. So, do you remember a teacher or a mentor who guided you in your college life? Like we have a mentor provided was assigned to us, and we no faculties in our department. So, did you have someone like that who always looked out for you and always shaped your career from the college life in the beginning itself? Did you have anyone like that?
Yeah, if at all you ask me any teacher in the school, as I said, I had 10 schools to study. So every 2 years I used to change the school. But still, I remember one teacher, Mr. Pandurang Rao. He is from Bhuvanendra College, High School, Karkala, where I studied my 8th and 9th standard high school, only 2 years again. But he has left a very deep mark on my student life. He was my mathematics teacher. In fact, after that, he was teaching in our high school also. Even now, after his retirement, he is teaching in different schools. And he was the mathematics teacher who taught us how to study mathematics. I think that is where my mathematics foundation becomes stronger. That is from the school days. From the college days, of course, our teachers were good, but I can't really name one person who has really made an impact on me. But the person who actually helped me to get seriously into my profession were 3 people. I should remember them. When I was serving at MIT Manipal as a faculty in the Department of Electronics and Communication, we had one Professor Bhaskar. He was a very senior professor there. So I served there for about 10 years. After that, I came to NITE. So for me to come to NITE, in fact, Professor Bhaskar was one of the reasons. He said, see, you have a great potential there. It is nearer to my hometown also. I am from Karkala. So rather than Manipal, NITE is nearer. And I also had a dream initially that finally I should stay with my parents. So that was my dream. So this is anyway nearer. So he said, since that is your dream, it's an upcoming college. That was in 96. So it was just 10 years since the NMIT was started. And they are looking for computer science. By then I had done my, not completed PhD, but almost through my PhD. So he said, why not you approach NIT? That time here Professor K. Mohan Hegde was there. He was the senior professor in the Department of MCA. So he called me. So I remember those two gentlemen, one from MIT Manipal, Professor Bhaskar Rao, here Dr. Mohan Hegde, who called me, invited me to join this institution. One more person from MIT Manipal, where I was a faculty there. That time our head of the department was one Professor Rajarao. He was the former director of ITI, Indian Telephone Industries, Bangalore. He came there as HOD from industry. So for my MTech project work, I was searching for a project idea. He said, why can't you go to the VLSI lab at Indian Telephone Industries, Bangalore? So I went there for 6 months, and that is where I thought that I can do something in VLSI. So in fact, that helped me to take up my further PhD in VLSI area, and I could complete my PhD in as early as 2002. There were very few faculty in this region, in different engineering colleges, who had a PhD in computer science in 2001-2. So that also helped me to come to NIT directly as a professor. So just within about 10, 12 years of my service, I became a professor. So I could come in. So these are the three gentlemen I should always remember in my higher education life: one Professor Bhaskar Rao, here Dr. Mohan Hegde, and Professor.
Yes, sir. Sir, also we wanted to know, as you mentioned that you had studied electronics and communication, and in NMIT you are a professor of computer science. How was the transition between electronics and communication to computer science?
Yeah, in fact, even though my undergraduation was electronics and communication, my post-graduation, MTech, was in computer science. I was the first student of MIT Manipal doing my MTech in computer science, because I was a faculty there. That time, even soon after me, they used to take as a faculty member. And I joined electronics and communication department. That time, computer science department was not there at MIT. So after 6 months of I joining, they sent a circular. We would like to start a computer science department at MIT Manipal. Those who wish to join computer science department, you can show your interest. Since my final year BTech project was library automation using COBOL, even though I was in electronics, I did that as the final year project at National Institute of Engineering in Mysore. I had only that much experience working on a computer on COBOL programming language. But we had studied it thoroughly. The reason was there was a mini computer for the first time. It came to NI Mysore in 1985. We were 4 students. Even teachers did not know much. They said, take the key of the computer center, you play with it and you do whatever you want. So we used to sleep in the computer center, and it used to take half an hour for a program to get compiled, recompiled again. It was very slow that time. So that was one example of exposure to computer science that I had that time. And second one was, I had taken data structures as an elective in my final year ENC in NI. We went to university, we fought for it, and they approved at Mysore University. We were the first batch to undergo data study. These are the only 2 qualifications. So I said, I am interested. Then I joined MIT Manipal. So they, along with me, another 4 more faculty, we were asked to create a department of computer science. So I am very happy that the computer science department of MIT Manipal, I was one among 5 who started. All of us were from ENC background, because that time computer science graduates were not there. That graduation program itself was not there. So once we were there, then we started. So I did my MTech in computer science. Again, I was the first batch. When I was serving, I was given a seat for MTech for 2 years. So I was a faculty as well as I was a student there. So I studied. So it was not that difficult for me to change over from electronics background to computer science, because I had studied that during my post-graduation. And my PhD thesis was VLSI, CAD for VLSI, CAD from computer science. VLSI was electronics, it was a marriage of history. Then I studied along with the student. Normally the first batch, what happened was, I took, for example, database management systems, first time. I studied along with my first batch students. So that learning of ours was really very strong because I need to teach. I need to read something and go to the class. Students will ask the question. They are also are equally exposed like me in database, for example, that first subject. They will shoot us lots of questions. Next day I should go to the textbook, library, refer, no internet, nothing. So come and then teach again. So I think that has given me a confidence in teaching any subject. I have almost all the subjects of computer science I have taught.
That's great. So since 2012, you've been the principal of an NMIT.
Yes.
So was this always your vision of leading an institution, of being the representative of an institution, or did life lead you the step by step?
It's not at all my dream. Thought that I'll become a professor at the end of it. That's it. But as I mentioned earlier, when I came here, joined here itself, I was given a professor's post because I was almost had completed my PhD. And that time there was no PhD in computer science anywhere nearby. So they gave me a PhD professor's post. And then I was asked to take up the HOD post in 2002 of computer science department. Till then we had one very senior professor here, Dr. K.M. Hebbar. He was leading the Department of Computer Science because he was retired a professor from NIT Surathkal. That time it was called KRS. He was an electrical engineer, then went into electronics, then went into computer science. After his graduation, our founder, Chancellor, late Mr. Vinay Hegde, he had called him to lead the Department of Computer Science here. So he was here when I joined. He was a HOD. But he was almost, I think, he was 68 or 69 by age by then. So in 2002, they said, since my PhD was also over, they said, why can't you be the HOD? I took it up. That was not that difficult because that KM still was there in service. He was with us for another 5 or 6 more years after that. So he used to guide us. But in 2000, around 3 or 4, one day, Mr. Vinay Hegde, late Mr. Vinay Hegde, once he met me in indoor stadium here. I was then just had taken a HOD post. He said, we have decided to make you as vice principal. I was really, it was a shock for me. I never expected that. Then I went home and I told, see, this is what Mr. Vinay has told me. I don't know when he's going to, but he told me. I don't think I'll be able to take up this responsibility because I was just teaching only. I was never in the administrative post, just head of the department for 6 months. That's it. But I should recall, my wife said, no, you can do it. So that's how I accepted that challenge. For 10 years, I was the vice principal. Then, of course, principal post was not that because I was there as a vice principal for 10 years, assisting then principal Dr. S.Y. Kulkarni. He was the principal. So suddenly he decided to leave this place and go to Bangalore for his own personal reasons. So that time, since I was the vice principal, I was asked to take over. Then I accepted it because I was anyway doing some administrative job. It was nothing new. So I did not dream, but it happened. Life actually took me to this direction myself.
Life always leads us to different places.
Yes.
Right, sir. So we have spoken about your student life, about your teacher life, and your principal life. But among all these three, what has taught you the more about how people are and about how society is? What has taught you the most?
I mean, I believe all the 3 roles which I played. Like you, I was a student, then I was a teacher, then I am a principal. I think I had something to learn in every role. But you know that the cohorts were different. For example, when somebody is a student, his cohort or his group around him are his classmates, his close friends. So you must be good with them. You always will have some jokes shared with them, or you study. That's it. And you go to his house, they come to your house. That's it. And closest family friends. So as a student, that was our world. I believe even present day students also, it is like that. Of course, they have got a digital gadget in their hand. That's only the difference. We did not have that. As a teacher, it is the entire class. I used to take some 2 or 3 subjects. So there are 60 students. So we used to be very, concerned about the students who are studying under us, saying that everyone should get good marks and placements. and all that. So we used to have bigger number of students and our peer faculty members. We were all together, when you go to canteen, you go together. So that was so cohort was a little bigger. But after I became principal, all students, all faculty, non-teaching staff, more than that, now lots of people from outside society. We need to talk to several people outside for different reasons. We cannot be in our cocoon and then say that we'll manage. No, it's not possible. So company people come, different organization people come. In society, or we have to go out, participate. So the sizes of these groups with whom I was interacting as a student, as a teacher, and as principal are different. But I have learned something or the other from each of these cohort.
So every role plays a very major decision in what we do further.
Right.
So you've been in this teaching field from such a long time, and you've been around students. Sir, how do you think students have evolved? When you were a student back then, how were your friends, and how are students currently? There has been a very major shift of generation, and we have seen that students now are more towards the gadgets, as you mentioned. So how do you think students are different now comparative?
You have given an answer in your question. Of course, when I was a student, I have experienced the student life. Now I see students around me, but I can see that there is not much of a difference. Even that time, the students used to like this only. No way much difference. Only thing, as you rightly put it, is the gadgets that have come into their hands. So maybe their number of friends with whom they interact is limited. This is my thinking because I'm not experiencing today's student life. I'm only seeing and my judgment tells me that. There are a lot of friends on WhatsApp and social media. But actually, when you see somebody in front of you, even though he may be your friend on the Facebook, you may not recognize him. We don't know because you see only him on the Facebook. So, otherwise, the activity-wise, I believe we also used to do the same thing. We used to write exams. We used to be happy on the last day of examination, saying that next for 1 month there is nothing much to bother about, and then involved in sports or extracurricular activities and all that. But only thing that advantage was we did not have this mobile in our hand. So we used to go everywhere. Every weekend we used to go in a cycle. Of course, I was having a bicycle. So entire Mysore city or even Srirangapatna, wherever, every Saturday we used to go out. Okay. So we could make a lot of friends. We could learn a lot of things on ground. Okay. So that was one benefit. I think with the electronic gadgets, you can see a lot of things, but you can't experience it.
Yes.
That's the only difference I see. Otherwise, today's students are much more informed. They are much more aware about compared to what we were that time.
Yes. Right, sir. Also, since now you have been a part of NMIT for more than a decade, so how is the life at NMIT special to you, sir? If you would have to describe your life at NIT.
Yeah. Here as a teacher, of course, I have. This is, I think, now my almost 30 years in NMIT because I came here in '97. Only became principal in 2012. So over these years, what I have seen is here people respect each other. Okay, that's one thing that I have observed. Whether it is a student or a teacher, a non-teaching staff, a person in the lift or wherever you go, we also respect them because they are finally doing their job. They also respect us. And it's a very cordial relationship that is there in NMIT. I've seen some other organizations where it's not that much. I can't comment on that, but I've observed, I've heard. Here, absolutely very cordial relationship. Your management is so magnanimous that they give us directions, later say it is your responsibility, you take it forward. But any support required, you come back to us. Otherwise, we have told you what you have to do, you do it. If you have any new ideas, please come forward with it. And they respect our views. So I believe this is something unique. Being in a village atmosphere and being run by a management which is really very humane kind of people, I believe that has come down to even the faculty, students, and everything. That's one difference in us.
So we spoke about your professional life. We spoke about your life as a student, as a professor, and as a principal. But sir, how is your life personally? Like when you're not in the campus, when you're not a principal, when you're at home, how is life now after so many years of you working hard in your life? It has definitely benefited you in many ways. But currently, how would you describe your personal life?
Once I go home, before I go home, I keep my principal's hat here only, and to the extent possible, I try to not to take any, tensions or worries of college to house, and vice versa also. Not that I'm 100% successful, but I keep trying that. And once I go home, I make it a point to meet people around. I stay in a village, small village. So everybody knows everybody else. So we go to their houses. Even today, I make it a point that in a year, at least 10 or 15 hours, I just go like that, not for a function, just for a casual talk, which is very, very minimal in the present day generation. You also maybe agree with me. Okay, we go. If you ask me what is the benefit, it is that contacts that you develop. They are there for you, we are there for them. Any temple festivals, we go, we participate. So once I go out of this, I don't say that I'm a principal. I'm a person of that village. And that's all it is.
So as you spoke about the contacts and we are there for them, they are there for us. So who is that one person, if you would have to name, who has been there through all your thicks and thins, always there for you whenever you need them?
My wife. After my marriage, it is my wife, because always because there are difficult times. Whatever you said, either in profession. As I gave you an example, when I wanted to take up that responsibility of vice principal, if she had not told me that go ahead, I don't know. I would not have taken a vice principal's post. If I had not, I would not have become a principal. So then the things went dead. Similarly, in family life also, sometimes we need to adjust. Most of the time, it's an adjustment. So I believe she has been the greatest support to me. And of course, before that, parents. Right.
So motivation is very important to everyone's life. Without a person giving us motivation, leading a life becomes a little bit difficult. So now we'll come to a little bit fun part. What is the one thing that students today complain that you secretly agree with? Like we do complain about it, and somewhere you feel that yeah, that is true. You agree with it.
So you want me to make that secret? Okay. We teachers, not only it is me, most of the senior teachers, we feel that we make our students to learn a lot of things. Okay, as part of the curriculum, as part of maybe mini projects, internship, that. Available time is the same. Even when we were students, it was 4-year degree course, 8 semesters, only 9 to 5, everything was same. But today, if we see, because of the demand, of course, we can't say that one should not do that, but because of the demand in the industry, requirements outside, students have to study too many things. They must keep themselves up to date with a lot of newer things that are happening. And finally, they have to write exams. They should clear. And then placements were a very big thing. Okay. As I said, when I was a student, that headache was not, never thought about placement. Okay, that was not there in any of our mind. What to do after graduation? Let it happen. After that, let me see kind of thing. But now it is not so. Even when a student enters into graduation, he thinks, do I get a job by the end of 4 years? So a lot of pressure. We make them to work a lot, too much of a syllabus, curriculum and all that, which I feel, I think we need to reduce to certain extent. Okay, I believe definitely many of my senior colleagues, even many of my colleagues, they do also agree. I believe that days to come that will happen. But there is no point in rote learning, memorizing something and all. Why should one do that? Is it not? You must know what to apply where. That's all the essence of engineering. If you are trained for that, that's good enough. Otherwise, too much of mathematics. Just an example. I'm not. I love mathematics. Lot of mathematics in fourth semester. I don't think 99% of our graduating engineers will ever use that mathematics in their profession. Right?
So, sir, as you are the principal of the college, so you are mostly around all the students and the faculty. So, what is that one thing that you see in today's generation that worries you? Like, this shouldn't be this way. Like, while you see the students today, something that worries you.
Yeah, actually, there's nothing to worry much because every generation has something in front of them to achieve. Even today's generation also, they will have their own ways of achieving certain things. But I believe that they are not keeping the relationships. When I say relationships, they are friends, family. In fact, basically the family. Friends, of course, they keep them, friends everywhere. But the family, that attachment, it is little lacking. That should not happen. Parents, are they really caring for their parents? Yes. Till they graduate, yes, they will have high regard. But after they graduate and get into professional life, are they really, because of their maybe pressures, work pressure, etc., they may not get enough time to care for their parents. And then the digital gadgets, it is good, but it's bad also. So it all depends on how well we judiciously use the digital gadgets. So sometimes we feel, are our younger generation going into the right direction by misusing these digital gadgets? If they use it well, fantastic. You don't require actually any teacher because it has so much stuff in that you can learn many of things on your own. But it is such a device or such a gadget, as you all know, you initially get into it with good intentions, but you end up somewhere else. Okay. That's one worrying thing. So distractions, lot of distractions here and there, which were not there earlier. But it all depends how one will have a self-control on him or her. Even though there are so many things, people have to enjoy. But at the end of the day, they must achieve what they want to. For that, as I initially said, I don't really worry. They're all in their right path. But they must decide what is good for them and work in that direction. I think they'll all be successful.
I hope us as well as the students watching this podcast will take the advice. Sir, if you could go back in time, what will you tell to your 20-year-old self? What would be the words of wisdom you would tell your younger self? Something which we would also want to hear.
Sometimes I feel now, I believe everybody will feel towards the end of their career. I should have practiced well some art form when I was young. Okay? Even though I practiced Mridangam for 2 years during my PUC, I did not take it forward. I did not get formal training in music. So now I can go as an audience for a program, but I cannot perform because I'm not good at anything, any art form for that matter. So sometimes I feel when I was young, I should have taken some art form very seriously. Present day generation, I see that, which was not there when we were young. Okay, now any small kid, their parents say, you join a music class, you take a dance class, or anything, karate, or whatever, yakshagana and all that. And good number of students take it forward. Some leave it there. So I think I should have taken at least any one art form at that point in time little seriously, so that now when I am at the fag end of my career, at least I could have done something more towards it. Now I cannot. I only have to enjoy, but I still enjoy watching movies, listening to music, going to yakshagana, all that I enjoy. But sometimes I should have been there on the stage, which I can. So I believe in everyone's life, to make the life colorful, I believe one or the other art form or public speaking. That also I was not trained. I was a Kannada medium student during my SSLC, till my SSLC. After that, English medium. And that language picking up, I could have learned at least one or two languages. That also I did not do. Now, of course, I speak in some Hindi, whoever comes to me, but I know what Hindi I speak. But such a sweet language, I could have mastered because I had a lot of my classmates who were speaking in Hindi that time. I did not. To tell you one secret, I am from this place. I studied engineering in Mysore. I started speaking in Tudu after I went to Mysore because my friends group were all speaking in Tudu. When you go away from your place, the roots will remind you, right? But of course, it has its own. I cannot speak in Tudu in somewhere else. But if it was Hindi, something great.
Yes.
So I believe every student, this is one message also I would like to give through to you, that your studies apart, at least be serious in one of the art form or public speaking or writing, yes, article writing and all that. That will help you in later days.
Yes, sir. We have surely seen you in many of the places holding the mics, and for us young speakers, you are genuinely an inspiration.
That's
Sir.
very true.
I've genuinely heard you. You're really an inspiration. Sir, also, as a part of many of the committees in our college, we go around to different colleges inviting them to come and participate in our college events. While doing that, I have personally met some of the principals who have told me that they were your students or they were your colleagues or your friends, and they always tell us that please do give regards to your principal. He's a really sweet principal. So, as you spoke about relations, so what would you like to tell about this, sir? While they still remember you and how good you were.
I don't know what they remember about me, but of course, they were all good. And even now, when I go out, they say, "Sir, you have taught me this subject." But apart from that, I think they want, or I want them to remember me as a good friend of theirs. Not as a teacher, but who used to understand them, who used to be there whenever they wanted me. Whatever way. I think if they remember me like that as a good friend and a good human being, that's more than sufficient. As a teacher, of course, as a profession, I have to teach. I would have scolded somebody also, but that's a different thing. I have a lot of my senior students who are presidents and CEOs and all that. Of course, I can tell you one more thing. I don't know whether how far it is related to this. Even the Satya Nadella, Microsoft chief. When I was at MIT Manipal, he was our student.
Oh.
I was in electronics department. I was in electronics department as a teacher. But I came to know about it only after he took up that post of Microsoft because, oh yeah, he was our student after going through the whole college meals. No, life takes us to different destinies. So people have to remember as a good human being. That's good enough at the end of the day.
So one final message, not as a principal, but as friends for all of us. So what would you like to tell the students studying here in our college, and what message would you like to give them? Someone as a friend, someone who would guide you and inspire you.
Okay. For students, of course, what I have already told you in earlier that students, basically, your parents have sent you here or wherever they are studying. So don't forget your parents. Whatever you may achieve in life or whatever it is, keep that in mind. As students, be ethical. There's lots of shortcut ways of achieving marks, but that will not help you in the longer run. Do the hard work. Whatever you can get, that's good enough. Because finally, when you go to placements, whenever you approach any company for the jobs, they will test you that. Are you ethically upright? Are you ready to learn? Can you adapt to the changes? Because changes in technology field, we know it's happening very rapidly. And you can't say that I learn everything. It's not possible. But you must be ready to learn whenever changes happen. So, be a learner throughout. Be ethically upright. and be ready to adapt to the changes because changes are constant. Yes. All the best. We are there.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.